Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 12.3B. I've entitled this video, Wiggin' Out. This video is going to cover pages 339 to 341. The Whigs in power. When Van Buren ran for re-election in 1840, Democrats had held the White House for 12 years. Now, with the country still in the depths of depression, the Whigs thought they had a chance to win the presidency. The Log Cabin Campaign. To run against Van Buren, the Whigs united behind one of their 1836 candidates, William Henry Harrison. Like Andrew Jackson, Harrison was a hero of the War of 1812. John Tyler, a planter from Virginia, was Harrison's running mate. Harrison had first gained fame with his victory over Tecumseh's followers in the Battle of Tippecanoe in 1811. The Whigs made reference to this event in their campaign slogan, Tippecanoe and Tyler too. Question number 1. Why did the Whig Party feel like it had a good chance to win the presidential election of 1840? Well, the country was still going through depression, and Americans usually blame the party in power whenever the economy is not going well. Question 2. Which candidate did the Whigs run for president in 1840, and why was he a strong choice? They ran William Henry Harrison, and he was a strong choice because he was a war hero just like Andrew Jackson, and Americans love a good war hero. Question 3. Which candidate did the Whigs run for vice president in 1840? John Tyler. And that will be important in a little bit because something's going to happen to William Henry Harrison. Spoiler alert. Question 4. What was the catchy campaign slogan for the Whigs in 1840 that used triple alliteration? Triple alliteration was when they said Tippecanoe and Tyler too. Alliteration is using the same sound multiple times, so in that T sound, Tippecanoe and Tyler too. Harrison needed the support of the workers and farmers who had voted for Jackson in order to win the election. The Whigs portrayed Harrison, who in reality was a wealthy Ohioan, as a simple frontiersman like Jackson. The Democrats attacked this image. They said that all Harrison was good for was sitting in front of a log cabin and collecting his military pension. These attacks played right into the hands of the Whigs, who adopted the log cabin as the symbol of their campaign. Question number 5. William Henry Harrison was a wealthy man from Ohio. Why did the Whigs try to portray him as a simple frontiersman? Because he wanted to win the support of the workers and the farmers who had voted for Jackson, and people voted for Jackson because he was the common man's person. And so William Henry Harrison disguised that he was actually wealthy, and they tried to portray him as, oh, I'm just a simple man on the frontier in Ohio, when really he was quite wealthy. Question 6. How did Democrats try to make fun of Harrison's image as a simple man? Well, they said all he was good for is sitting in front of a log cabin and just not doing much of anything. And that leads us to number 7. What did the Whigs and Harrison use for their campaign symbol? They went with that log cabin. They turned the tables on that, and they used a negative and turned it into a positive. While presenting Harrison as a, quote, man of the people, the Whigs portrayed Van Buren as a wealthy snob with perfume-scented whiskers. They blamed him for the Depression and accused him of spending the people's money on expensive furniture for the White House. The Whigs' tactics and the effects of the Depression seemed to work. A record number of voters turned out to elect Harrison by a wide margin, making him the first Whig president. Question number 8. What political attacks did the Whigs use on President Van Buren? Well, number 1, they called him a wealthy snob. 2, they blamed him for the Depression. And 3, they accused him of spending the people's money on frivolous things like expensive furniture for the White House. Question 9. Who won the presidential election of 1840? That was won by William Henry Harrison. As you look at the map over here, you can see he won the popular vote. I mean, it was fairly close, 53% to 46%. But you can see in the Electoral College, this is where he really kicked Martin Van Buren's behind. 80% to 20%, 234 to 60 for the electoral vote. So that makes it look a lot more lopsided than the actual popular vote, which was, closer than almost like the book even gives him credit for. It was, fairly close popular vote. Inauguration Day, 1841, was bitterly cold. Harrison insisted on delivering his long speech without a hat or coat. He died of pneumonia 32 days later. He served the shortest term of any president, and John Tyler, pictured here on the right, became the first vice president to gain the presidency because of the death of a president. At age 50, Tyler was also the nation's youngest president up to that time. Question number 10. What happened to William Henry Harrison 32 days after becoming president of the United States? He died of pneumonia. Question 11. Vice President John Tyler became the first vice president to do what? To take over the presidency because of the death of a president. Question 12. What was another interesting part about President John Tyler in regards to his age? At that time, he was the youngest president to serve America. John Tyler's presidency. John Tyler won the vice presidential election as a Whig. However, he had once been a Democrat and had opposed many Whig policies. Whig Party leaders had put him on the election ballot with Harrison mainly to attract Southern voters, since he was from Virginia. Whig Party leaders Daniel Webster and Henry Clay had believed they could control Harrison and run the country behind the scenes. Harrison's death ruined that plan. President Tyler vetoed several bills sponsored by Whigs in Congress. His lack of party loyalty outraged many Whigs. When he twice vetoed a bill to renew the charter of the Bank of the United States, all but one of his cabinet members resigned. Only Daniel Webster remained as Secretary of State. Whig leaders actually expelled Tyler from the Whig Party. The biggest success of the Tyler presidency came in the area of foreign relations. In 1842, the United States and Great Britain signed the Webster-Ashburton Treaty, pictured here on the right. This agreement settled a long dispute over the border between Maine and Canada, pictured right here, and set a firm U.S.-Canadian boundary from Maine all the way to Minnesota. Question number 13. What are a couple of reasons why John Tyler was not a great choice to be the vice president for the Whig Party? Well, once he had been a Democrat, and he didn't like a lot of the Whig policies that they actually had. So that was a disaster waiting to happen. Question 14. Well, if he was such a bad candidate, why did the Whigs select a former Democrat to be the vice presidential candidate for the Whigs? Because he was from Virginia, and they were tactically trying to win voters to say, well, you know, John Tyler's a Southern man, so we'll vote for that ticket of William Henry Harrison and John Tyler. Remember, at this point, no vice president had ever taken over to become president, so they weren't thinking that William Henry Harrison was going to die. Question number 15. How did President Tyler make life miserable for the Whig Party while he was president? Well, he vetoed several bills that they wanted, and he twice vetoed a bill to get the Bank of the United States back, so he was making life very miserable for the Whig Party. Question 16. What did the Whig Party do to get back at President Tyler? Well, almost all of his cabinet members resigned, and then they actually kicked him out of the Whig Party. So this was a man without a party. He had left the Democrats before, and now the Whigs didn't want him either. So that is another reason why he was a one-term president. Question 17. What was the importance of the Webster-Ashburton Treaty of 1842? It helped get our border settled peacefully with Canada from Maine to Minnesota. Except for opposing Tyler, the Whigs could not agree on their party's goals. Increasingly, they voted by region, North, South, and West, not party. This division may explain why the Whig candidate Henry Clay lost another election of 1844 to Democratic candidate James Polk. After only 4 years, the Whigs were out of power. Question number 18. What was the main reason that Henry Clay, the Whig candidate, would lose the presidential election of 1844? Because the Whigs were split by regions, split by North, South, and West. And so when your party is split, that opens the door for the other team, and that's one main reason why James K. Polk will win the election of 1844. The Whigs elected just one more president, Zachary Taylor, in 1848. Taylor also died in office. By then, the Whig Party had become badly divided over the issue of slavery. By the early 1850s, the party had nearly disappeared. Many Northern Whigs left the party and helped to form a new political party, the Republican Party, that we have today. So question number 19. What tragedy struck the Whig Party again when they won the presidential election of 1848? That president also died in office, and that would be Zachary Taylor. question number 20. What issue would split the Whig Party and eventually make it fade away into history? That would be the issue of slavery, which is not just going to divide and ruin that party. It's going to divide and cause our country to go to war, but that's in a later chapter. And now it's time to say goodbye to two more presidents. Our 9th president, William Henry Harrison. What I love about this one is he gave the longest inauguration speech in history. 8,578 words. It lasted about 2 hours. There's a moral to that story, which is, be short, sweet, and to the point. And he comes in as the 40th greatest president in American history. So in other words, he's in the bottom 5 of all our presidents. It's hard to really judge a president who's only been president for 32 days, and so that's one of the reasons why he comes in so low. His successor, John Tyler, comes in at number 39, so he's near the very bottom as well. And before I let you go, there's just one thing I want to talk to you about. As of the time I'm recording this video, and that would be the year 2023, John Tyler has a grandson that is still alive. Yes, a guy that was alive before Abraham Lincoln is president still has a grandson alive today. Now that guy is Harrison Tyler. He is 94 years old as of 2023. Just have your mind wrap itself around that fact. There is a grandson of a president who was president before Abraham Lincoln that is still alive today. Wow. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.